Chapter 8, Supervised Release. Now that Frank was back to work, the supervised release period of 3 years kicked in. Frank had to follow certain criteria to keep the probation department off his back. Frank told me that we should be able to get on with our lives. Frank asked me, "Where's the bill for the pawn shop for the real diamond?" I gave it to him, and he said that this will be paid off in about a year, now that he's back to work. Frank kept working, paying his restitution, and reporting to the probation department. These probation officers went to our home and Frank's job to make sure that he lived where he said he lived, and he worked where he said he worked. His probation officer told Frank that he couldn't have any credit cards unless it was approved by them. Frank got in trouble because they checked his credit report and found out that he had credit cards again. And this was a violation, and he could go back to the prison camp. Frank had told me that he got a couple of credit cards, but he sent money in to the cards, and this kind of card was called secured credit. In other words, it was like a debit card with a Visa or MasterCard logo on it. This was a good way to establish your credit. Well, there was a hearing, and Frank called his lawyer, who postponed the hearing and set it up for a day when Frank's probation officer couldn't make it, and Frank was judged not guilty. If Frank would have had the public defender, he probably would have ended up back in the prison camp. That was a close one. I told Frank he better channel his compulsive behavior into his job and odd jobs. Everything seemed to get back to normal. All the bills were being paid on time, and the real diamond got paid off and went back into the safe deposit box. I felt like we could survive anything after this ordeal. 10 years has passed since Frank was indicted. No more United States Assistant District Attorney, no more Postal Inspector, no more TV reporter, no more halfway house, and no more electronic criminal. This gave us closure. Frank retired, and then he received a notice from the IRS that he owed $160,000 in taxes. The Social Security counted to $200,000 as income, and the IRS wanted taxes on this money. Frank got lucky here. He pleaded economic hardship, and he gave the IRS all the information that they requested, and they applied the statute of limitations, and Frank didn't know anything. Frank finally won a case. The government wasn't through yet. Frank got a notice from them saying that they were going to offset his Social Security by 15% to pay the restitution that he owed. The statute of limitation doesn't apply to government debts. Today we are doing good. Remember, Frank was guilty until proven innocent, and not innocent until proven guilty.